Hi guys, Mike here, and welcome to another Minecraft Lord of the Rings tutorial. Today, we're going to be talking about shaders, again, for like the third or fourth time, but we're going to be doing things a little bit differently today. We're going to be focusing on two specific shader packs, and we're going to go over the settings in great detail. I have gotten a lot of requests for my shader settings since I've started using them pretty much full time in both of my series, the Dark Time series and my single player Survivor series. So both of those I'm using Sildur shaders, and we're going to start off with the simpler of the two, the one that I use in Dark Times, and that is Sildur's Enhanced Default. It's not a full shader pack, but it can be gorgeous, and I'm going to tell you how to get it looking good, and I'm going to go over some of the settings with you. It's great for a few reasons. One, it's very performance friendly, so if you have a low-end computer or even a mid-range computer, or you want to record at very high FPS, this is the shader pack you really want to go with. It doesn't have the full-blown, in-your-face, God rays and volumetric lighting, that kind of stuff. But it does look very good in its own right, and it retains a lot of the vanilla Minecraft feel to it. And it's probably the best shader pack, honestly, to be playing full time with. So we're going to start off with that. Let's go into the settings, and we're going to go over them one by one. So we're going into options, going into video settings, and we're going into shaders. Now, I'm going to assume that you guys know generally how to install shaders and how to use Optifine. You are 100% going to need Optifine to use the shaders featured in these videos. There's no way around it. The newer Sildur shaders require Optifine. They're not compatible with the original shaders mod. So if you have any issues with Optifine, or Optifine with Minecraft Lord of the Rings in particular, because some people do, then you're really sort of SOL. There's not much you can do. You're going to have to go back to an older version of the shaders using the original shaders mod. Alright, so you can see we have Sildur's Enhanced Default Redone 1.0 selected. This is the newest version at the time this video was made. The download link will be in the description. You can go and check it out. But first, I want to sort of direct your attention to the right-hand side here. I have anti-aliasing set to FXAA 2 times. This is a way to smooth out the jaggies, the sort of pixelated look, especially along sharp lines, and Minecraft is notorious for that. I have it set to 2 times. You can set it to 4. You can set it to off. I'm going to leave it at 2 for now. I will go over why in the future. It's much better shown in a visual way, so we'll do that later. Normal map, leave it on. Specular map, leave it on. Render quality, I have it set at 2. This defaults to 1. And what this setting essentially does is, if for example you set it to 2, it renders Minecraft at a very high resolution and then scales it down to, for example, 1080p, which is what I'm recording at. It results in a super smooth, super amazing looking picture, but at a very, very high performance cost. I cannot stress that enough. It will kill your computer's performance. Look at my card here. I have a GTX 1080, an overclocked GTX 1080, and I still struggle to get 60 frames per second in certain situations like in Lothlorien and stuff like that. So you can experiment with this setting. Also, if you have a low-end computer, you can set it below 1 to 0.5 or 0.7, and it does make for a much more pixelated look, because if you're going at, say, 0.5, it's rendering Minecraft at half a size and then upscaling it to whatever 1080p, whatever your monitor's set to, and yeah, either way, you can experiment with it. If you have low performance, try lowering it. If you have great performance and you want a better picture, try raising it. Shadow quality is essentially the same thing as render quality. You can raise it up. If you're messing with render quality, for example, if you're setting it at 1.5 or 2, I would not recommend touching this. It will doubly kill your performance, and it's not worth it sort of visual-wise. You really can't see a big difference, so I generally leave this at 1. You can always adjust the shadow quality settings in the shader options themselves, which we're going to get to in a minute. Hand depth, I really don't know what this does, honestly. I haven't experimented with it. I have a feeling it's probably something to do with depth of field, but I don't know. I've never had the need to adjust it, so you can let me know in the comment section below what it does. I'm not even curious. Old hand light, I believe this is similar to dynamic lighting. I set it to default. I just leave it at normal. I don't know what it is. Old lighting, again, I just leave it off. Why would I want old lighting? I want the new hotness. No old lighting. All right, so let's go into shader options themselves. First, we're going to go into colors. These are my personal settings. Again, a lot of people have asked me for my own settings, and I'm going to tell you what my preferred settings are, and you guys can, figure out yourself what you like. First off, colors. Color boost and cross process, I have both set to off. They change how color is rendered within the world of Minecraft. Color boost, as the name suggests, increases the saturation of the picture to unrealistic levels, if you want my honest opinion. I don't particularly like it, and it also seems to increase the brightness. You end up with a lot of sort of overblown colors. and I recommend turning it off. It depends on a lot of other factors though. It depends on your monitor calibration and other things like that, so you can experiment and see what you like. Cross process, I don't understand exactly what this does. It's some kind of color filter. It looks a little bit weird, as you can see. I'm not a fan of it, but again, if you like it, feel free to turn it on. Next up, motion blur. I have motion blur set to on with a blur strength of low. I'm not generally a fan of motion blur in most games, but I have it turned on in Minecraft for a very specific reason. If you are experiencing frame rate fluctuations, you know, you want to get 60 frames per second, but you're like in the mid 50s or high 50s at certain times. When you turn around, you're going to notice some hitching occasionally. And I hate that when I'm recording. Motion blur really helps sort of smooth out those fluctuations and smooth out the picture when you're doing fast motion moves and maneuvers. And it looks really good. If you're having trouble with frame rates or you just like the look of it, turn it on. It's great as far as I'm concerned. Anyway, we're going to move on. Shadows. I have shadows on, shadow filters on, colored shadows on, and I have my shadow resolution set to very high. Again, I have a high-end computer. You're going to have to experiment on your own. The shadow resolution can be a big performance killer depending on, you know, what other settings you have. I have it set to very high and it seems to be okay for me, but I also have my shadow distance set to very near. You can change this to near, far, very far, too far, way too far. But, you know, in some cases, or in many cases anyway, depending on your render distance, you're going to be setting your shadow view distance even outside that. So you're not going to notice any difference and you're going to kill your performance for no reason. The second thing is, the further your shadows are, the lower resolution the shadows are going to be, because your shadow map is sort of expanding outwards, but your shadow resolution is not increasing. So if you're increasing this, you want to increase this. Now, if I go with very high resolution and I go with very near, I end up with quite high quality shadows, and I don't notice a huge difference. I don't mind that things aren't shadowed in the distance because it tends to darken everything, and it actually results in a realistic look for me. In some cases, not in all, but you know, again, you guys can experiment. Sun moon angle. This is, well, you can set it to default or you can set it to alternative. This basically changes the angle that the sun or the moon goes, the path it follows throughout the sky. So if it's set to default, it's normal Minecraft and Lord of the Rings default, 90-degree angle, straight up and straight down. I do like that setting for certain things like time lapses, but it causes some problems with sand and things like that, where the direct sunlight tends to be super blinding and sand gets very overblown, just basically blown out. It looks like snow, as you can see. So if you set it to alternative, this puts the sun at an angle, which means the ground is not generally getting direct sunlight, and it tends to sort of fix that problem, at least for me. So you guys can experiment on your own, but yeah, give it a shot either way. Let me know your results because I'd be curious to know if it works for you as well. Let's keep going. Cell shading, I'm not even going to get into it. I mean, adds a black outline. This is not Borderlands. Why is this even here? Depth of field, I have it set to off. You know, it does look cool depending on the situation, but here's the problem with depth of field for me. My eyes are always wandering around the screen. I'm not always looking at the center of the screen, so I may want to look off into the distance, but I don't necessarily want to move my mouse or move my eyes in that direction. And I find that very disconcerting and unrealistic, so I don't really like it. It's great for stuff like machinima, and if you want to turn it on, you're welcome to. It does look great in some situations. I just find it ruins immersion for me rather than making things more immersive. Another thing you should know, if you have motion blur on, you cannot have depth of field on at the same time. They do not work together, so you gotta choose one. Reflections. I have everything set to on except for slime block reflections, and I'll tell you why. There are some bugs with Minecraft Lord of the Rings mod and slime block reflections. If you go to places like Mordor, you're going to notice the ground sort of reflects and looks weird. It turns into like a slime block. I'm not even sure how to describe it, but you see, it's weird, right? Anyway, yeah, definitely turn this off if you're running the Minecraft Lord of the Rings mod. Everything else I would recommend just leaving on. Waving objects. I have these all set to off. You can turn them on if you want to. Here's the problem for me with waving objects. With Minecraft Lord of the Rings, there are a lot of extra plants added that don't necessarily wave or work with the shaders mod. So you're going to end up with stuff like grass, certain grasses waving and others not waving, certain trees and leaves waving and others not waving. It breaks immersion for me. I don't particularly like it. The fire looks pretty cool, as you can see. So if you want to turn on the fire, you're welcome to do that. You can also turn on lava. That looks fairly cool as well. Water. I haven't actually tried that. Oh, lily pads, I guess. All right. That's interesting. Never tried that either. Anyway, I just turn it all off because I prefer the more static look, to be honest. I don't know why. Last one, damage glass. I would recommend leaving it on, especially if you're playing survival. For stuff like machinima, you can turn it off if you want a more realistic look. When you hit people, they don't immediately flash red, but it's nice to have that option in case you do want to turn it off. Okay, so let's move on to textures. If you have never used a shader pack with Minecraft Lord of the Rings before, be aware that you need to disable the Middle-earth sky in the Minecraft Lord of the Rings config settings page. Don't forget that, okay? Because otherwise you're going to get a really weird, disgusting sky, and don't be commenting below in this video asking me why, because I'm telling you how to fix it right now. But the good thing about Sildur's enhanced defaults is that you can still see the Minecraft Middle-earth clouds, which look great. It's not exactly the sky, but it does look very close, much closer than some other shaders pack where it's just these poofy, cotton candy looking clouds that I really don't like. So yeah, it's a sort of the best of both worlds. But you may also notice that your sun has suddenly turned into a giant square, which does not at all look good or realistic in any way. And we're going to fix that right up. And to do that, we're going to need to use a resource pack. See? Tell me that is not a gorgeous looking sunset. So much better than that giant block in the sky we saw a minute ago. And all we did was change the sun texture. Now, the way we did this is we actually changed the vanilla Minecraft sun texture because that's what the shaders pack is going to be using. So if you try to change the Minecraft Lord of the Rings texture, or if you've done that in the past, you pretty much got to throw that out the window. You can't use it with the shaders. So what you could actually do is download a resource pack for vanilla Minecraft of your choice with a sun that you really like. Go into the folder and just delete everything except the sun, and then you're good to go, and possibly the moon. You might want to do the moon as well. But yeah, both of those are very simple. Just download a resource pack. There are tons of them out there. Or you can just Google Minecraft sun, and you can download a sun texture, which is exactly what I did, and just insert it into a resource pack of your own making. I'm going to assume that you guys are advanced enough to know how to do that. I will put a download link in the description of this video with a sort of sample resource pack that you guys can build off of. And yeah, let me know if you have any questions. Again, you're welcome to come on my Discord chat anytime. If you need tech support or you need any help, it's much better than commenting on the video because you'll get a much quicker response. I think we're done for today. I have gone over the settings in fairly great detail, and I hope this little tutorial was useful for you. Next time when we come back, we are going to be going over the full shader pack, which is Sildur's Vibrant Shaders. They're much more feature rich, but with those features comes a lot more problems. So we're going to have to spend a little bit of time correcting those, including getting into the code. So it's going to be quite a bit more advanced than this one, but stick around and you can enjoy that one as well. Take care, guys, in the meantime, and have yourselves a great day.